Okay guys, so a little quick video today. Broken the antenna off of my tinyhawk to freestyle, so we're going to be swapping that out for a new one. So first we're just going to take it apart. Okay, so that's the top plate off. I'll unplug the camera, get that out of the way. Okay, so we can see down in here where we got a desolder. So I think I'm going to take off that. So just taking the upstand off to keep it out of the way, push the cap as far as I can. Just unsolder that first of all, then clean up the solder pads. Okay, that's that off. Okay. Going to change the tip on the soldering iron to a smaller tip for the next bit. So I'll just let that cool. And then we'll look at what we're going to do with the new antenna. And I'm going to make this one longer than the old one. I'm going to make it so it stands up higher. I'm going to use a zip tie and some shrink wrap. Heat shrink rather. I think something along those lines, just so we can get a bit more range. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to cut this and then sheath it. I'm going to match it to the old one. So first off I'm just trying to get the outer flex off. And reveal what will be the earth and the core. Okay, so there we go, we can see that is still got the outer core on that, so we're going to pull that back. Go, that's it, pulled back, twisted and pulled off to the side. I don't need that much, so we'll just trim that off. And now I'm going to measure that up to the board. Okay, we're not far off on that. So a tiny bit off of the internal flex. And now we're going to expose the central core. Now there you can see we've got a tiny bit of central core and then the earth. So we're going to tin those. So I'll give that a bit of a flux with the flux pen. Overkill. And I'll put a bit, 1 or 2 pads on the board. So a little heat of the wire. And there we go. Tinned. And now we just tin the tip. Okay. There's our 2 pads tinned. Now we'll offer up the antenna. And we're going to do the tip first. Just angle that. Alright. Okay, so there you see there's the ground soldered from the coaxial, and there's our central active element soldered there. Okay, so we'll just check that we've got signal before we carry on.
Welcome to OpenTX.
There we go, we can see we've got full bars there. Right. Full bars. Fantastic.
Receiver still connected. Telemetry lost.
Okay, so this is obviously a coaxial aerial, and this here is our active element, and we're at 2.4 gigahertz, so we're running this at quarter wavelength. So that's why it's 31 millimeters. 31 millimeters dictates that it's quarter of the wavelength. Now, you know, there's obviously you could have it half wavelength and have it longer, or full wavelength and have it even longer. But most of the time with these tiny whoops, it seems that it's quarter wavelength. So that's what we're going to do. So next, I want to try and gain a bit more range. As I said, that's why this is longer as well than the factory one. So what we're going to do then is we're going to install a zip tie, and we want it to push upwards. So we're going to run it through the back, so it's going to come back through the block and give us that angle of pointing upwards diagonally off the back. Just like that. Okay. Now, this active piece here, we want to protect that, because if that actually bends, gets twisted or damaged, or even, as you know, we just said, the links are really important, so we don't want to lose any of that. So I've got a bit of antenna tube here. I'm going to use that, and I'm going to use some heat shrink. Now, looking at that, I don't need it quite that long, so we'll just cut a little piece off. Slot that back on and put it next to the zip tie, like that. And then I'm going to thread this heat shrink over the top, just like that. And I've got one of these little caps. I might super glue this on, I don't know, maybe the heat shrink will hold it on. going to push that right down. That's quite a nice snug fit actually. I actually think I'm gonna just can't believe I'm saying it, but for aesthetic reasons I'm gonna cut that heat shrink a bit shorter. Gosh, still a little bit shorter. Okay. So there's a little close up, so you can see how the I've just got the zip tie around the back and across the bottom there to perform the support. There we go. One antenna modification, repair and modification at the same time, and hopefully now that's going to get a bit more range where it's not being interfered with. It's well past the battery and the carbon fibre plates now. Now I'm pretty certain that's going to give me a lot more range. So now we're just going to give her a little fly. Okay guys, so we're going to try the range test out. We're going to compare it against the tinyhawk 2 standard. They've got the same boards, so it should be a fair comparison to see if we've got any difference on the range. Got a little bit of wind. I think the tinyhawk original might struggle a little bit, but we're going to do that one first. We'll see how far that gets, and then we'll see how much the tinyhawk 2 freestyle can beat it by, or hopefully beat it by, if we've done a good job. Alright, so let's see what she can do. Okay, we're at 72 just coming to the tree. We're in the 60s.
RF signal low.
Okay, so I'm going to turn back now. It said RF signal low. Okay. Okay, so we got to the small bridges there before we had
Telemetry lost.
issues.
Switch warning.
Okay, so let's hope we notice some sort of a improvement. Can we get past those bridges before we get a warning? It's quite a stretch. It's quite a distance. I have to say, I have always actually found that the freestyle just didn't have as good a range as the original Tinyhawk 2 for some reason. And it's strange because they are pretty much identical, just with different tunes. This should be a bit faster, this one at least. Okay. I might chuck it in acro just to get a bit more speed out of it. Oh. It's so much faster. That's that difference of those 2S and the back and the motors. We're at the bridges already. I have to go a little bit higher because the VTX isn't liking it.
RF signal low.
There we go. Wow. Well, that was quite a dramatic difference. That is hundreds of
RF
meters.
signal critical.
That is hundreds of meters of extra range. Look at that lake.
RF signal low.
It never likes it quite so much coming back because obviously the antenna is behind the quad. Oh, there we go. That was massively different. So little antenna mod made quite the difference. I'm pretty happy with that. So there you go. Hope it helped, guys. Nice one.